Hello Internet, my name is Ryan Holmberg, and today I'm going to show you how to use a pitch bend on a MIDI controller or synthesizer to control two different parameters. And the reason why you may want to do this is if you just like the way your pitch bend feels and you're not already using it in this or in whatever jam or song you're doing. If you just don't have enough knobs or faders and you need one extra thing to control two parameters, then this is a good way to do it. So what you're going to need is to send the MIDI from whatever keyboard you're using, MIDI out into the MIDI in on your ZOIA. You want to figure out what channel the keyboard is sending, and then you'll need to make a MIDI pitch bend module and go into the settings and change it to the channel that you're using. You'll need a out switch module with two outputs, and to change that you'll go to the settings and then just go number of outputs, change that to 2. You'll need a value module, and you'll need to change its value to 0.5000, and so if you've never worked with an out switch before, the way this works is it has an input, a channel select, and in this case it has two outputs. So whatever value goes into the input gets sent out of one of these outputs, and that changes depending on whatever channel is being selected. So if it's on channel 1, it's going to go through the first output, and if it's on channel 2, it goes out the second output. So what we're going to do is hook up the pitch bend to the input, and we're also going to hook it up to the channel select. And then you got your value module set to 0.500 right in the middle, and you're going to take its output and connect it to the channel select as well. And what this does is it makes the value rest right in the middle, so when you move the pitch bend, the value goes up top, and when you go to the bottom, it changes to channel 1. So the top is getting sent out channel 2, and then the bottom portion of the value is negative, and it's going out the first output. So in this case, I'm going to be using pixels to just show you what's going on with the values on the outputs. With this setup as is, when you go up top, it's going to send a positive value out of the second output, and you can see with the pixel here it's changing values. But the second, or the first output, the negative value of the pitch bend, is going to be 0 to -1. And right here I've turned the value of the pixel all the way up, so it's starting at a high point, and when you go down, it brings that value down. This can be good if you are trying to use the bottom portion to control a filter. If the filter is open by default and you want to close that filter, you can do it that way. And if you want to close in varying amounts, you can control the attenuation percentage if you want to only go down halfway, for example. But let's say you want both of the outputs, like if you want this to go positive and you also want the negative to go positive, then there's a pretty easy way to do that too. You want to delete the connection or whatever you're sending it to, but you're just going to need another CV invert, and that just takes a negative value and turns it into a positive. So the negative value will go into the CV invert, and then the output of the invert will go to whatever destination you're sending it to. So then when you go positive, the second output's positive, and when you go negative, the first output is also positive. And yeah, these destinations can be anything you want them to be. They can control stuff within ZOIA, or if you're using this to control a different synth, just got to find out what CC numbers you need and then have it control whatever you want it to. Another thing you may have to do is if you're controlling a synthesizer, like in this case it's a MIDI controller, so this doesn't really matter for me, but if this was on a synth, then your pitch bend would also be controlling the pitch of whatever patch you're in. So you may need to also go into the settings of that synth and either turn the pitch bend settings off, or sometimes it allows you to, have different intervals, like one step up to like an octave or a few octaves. You can just turn that value down to 0 so it doesn't actually change the pitch of anything. And that's about it. Hopefully you found this helpful, and thanks for watching.